Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. This one was a long time in the making. I'm very happy I finally get to show you, although you can guess that I have a long list of things I would have done differently. But continuing with the G4 to G5 collection, it's finally Petal's turn. So as you can see, I went to my then quite small, now much larger, box of damaged ponies and I picked a body and I had to customize. A few people have asked me where I find the ponies, or the baits as they are called in the My Little Pony community. These ones I got from eBay and a UK site called Vinted. If you want to do your customs, you will find the list of materials in the video description, but mostly what you will need are some acrylic paints and some nylon hair or acrylic hair extensions, and of course glue. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, as usual, is clean the body. This is not necessary for this pony because I'm going to paint over it, but I want to make sure I have a very uniform base, and plus it's also fun to use acetone, as you can see here. Of course, just remember that acetone will remove any paint, so if you're trying to keep the eyes, for example, don't use it on them. When I started recording this video about 6 months ago, it's interesting here that it seems like the acetone is also taking some of the color of the head. I suspect this is because it was maybe repainted on top or coated with something like some kind of varnish. But anyway, I haven't seen this before, so I thought it was interesting. So I was going to leave just ambient sounds for this part, but then I realized that it's only like a little bit that I managed to capture. So I will let you know now that, because I'm actually recording this bit after the fact, that I actually talked through almost the whole video. And that's because I have lots of ideas that I want to share with you for things I want to do with the channel, and lots of things that I will also love your feedback on. Of course, feel free to turn off this commentary, especially if you don't know what the channel is about and you just landed here and suddenly there is this lady talking non-stop. And you can instead play maybe some music you enjoy or an audiobook and just maybe enjoy the customization. I'm not going to talk too much about the steps, although if you want to see what materials I used and tools and things like that, you can find all of those in the description below. And now to the ideas. I have lots of plans for this channel, lots of them, and not enough time. But one of the things I definitely want to try is to record more ambient sounds. Now, this is not easy where I live because there is noise coming from the outside, but let me share some of my plans for the coming months. Alright, so like I mentioned in the beginning of this video and also in my Care Bear Pony video, this one I'm showing you now took a long time to complete. It felt like there were many blockers in the way. Well, the main blocker was actually that I wasn't particularly enjoying it. It feels horrible to say it, but I wasn't enjoying working on this pony. And maybe it's because I am an old girl and G1 is my generation. I really like G4, this might be a little controversial, but I also really like G5. But the reason for the name of this channel is, well, mostly because I like vintage toys and restoring them and repairing them. So customs are a very new thing to me. I think I got the custom back when I did the Dia de Muertos pony, the Day of the Dead pony. But if you have had a chance to see some of the proper customizers, My Little Pony customizers, what they do is just amazing. So I feel a bit of, well, you know, imposter syndrome. Have you heard of that? I definitely have that when it comes to ponies. I was going to delete that, but I will leave it in case it helps anyone. Oh, sorry for the very enthusiastic wing cutting. Give me a sec. There we go. So, as I was saying, if you have seen my other videos, you will probably know by now that I'm a person that enjoys learning by doing and doesn't always check on existing techniques and materials, which can lead to some catastrophic results. So, circling back, one of the reasons why this video took longer is because, well, I don't feel very confident when it comes to customs. I don't want to disappoint you also, and I'm not particularly happy with my other G4 to G5s. But I also wouldn't want to create something that is not me, if that makes sense. But luckily things are feeling very different in my life, If you have seen the Care Bear video, you will understand. If not, then all I mean to say is that I feel very happy and not anxious. Or in other words, the person doing the first half of this video is not the person doing the second half. And I actually really enjoyed doing the second half. I hope that made sense because it feels very convoluted. I will try to explain a little more in the coming section. Bear with me. And may I remind you that you wanted me to talk more in the video. So let's talk a little bit about my plans for the channel. Dun, dun, dun. Of course, I'm not gonna make any promises. What I can say is that at this point, I feel like I really want to do more content and share it, try some new things, and not use gloves anymore. I hope that's okay with you. You might guess that there is a whole thing with my hands. I don't like my hands. I do love wearing lots of nail polish, and it changes very frequently. And I also love gardening. So that's a combination that doesn't work that well for YouTube, because on the one hand, well, there's always soil under my nails. On the other, my nails are always chipped. And if you're trying to record things and they take a while and you do different takes, you might notice that there will be differences. But I don't know, maybe that's okay, because I feel like I shouldn't be hiding my hands. Yeah, let's leave it at that for now. Moving on, next topic. The next topic is very short. It's about the subtitles. You might notice that this video doesn't have pasted subtitles. That is because it takes a long time to do them. And well, I am a little conflicted about it, but I'm thinking we can come to some sort of compromise. I need to work a lot of hours a day to pay rent. I also want to make lots of videos, and you have requested that I talk a little more in the videos. So for now, I will rely on automatic subtitles. Let's see how that works for this one. I will check them though, so they should be correct. They just won't be pasted on the screen. So if you feel the pasted subtitles are essential, please let me know and I'll see what I can do. Okay, before I continue talking about the channel and the plans for the channel, I just want to mention that I used real gold for this pony. And I think this is the main reason why I wanted to try to do Pip Petals, because she has golden hoofs and a golden tiara. And I have never tried this gold before, but I have seen the, you know, the illuminated letters, like medieval letters, and they look so amazing. But as I mentioned before, I learned by doing, so I didn't really check how to do this correctly. You will notice that my first attempt at gold leafing, I'm not sure if that's the correct term, is very improvised. My second one is slightly better, but you know, now I know for the next time. And I want to clarify, I don't condone doing things without learning about them. I am a scientist, I should know better. This is just how things are happening at the moment, and I have no justification for this. I'm sorry. So let's say, for now, that learning by doing is fine as long as it's safe. So if you're going to use any hazardous, oh my god, that word is so difficult, hazardous materials or temperature or anything like that, of course, do your research. If you're going to do anything that is permanent and you can't revert, and if you're going to do something for someone else because you don't want to mess up their present, then research, definitely research. If you're just doing art and you want to have fun, maybe, yeah, then learn by doing. Alright, just a quick note about what we're seeing now. For the bottom of the hoops, I could have used gold, but I thought it would be good to save it for future projects. I want to gold leaf an entire pony. Bullshit. So instead I used this acrylic paint, which looks quite similar, to be honest. It makes me wonder if I should actually use real gold, but you know, real gold is still real gold. In any case, if you want to use acrylics, just make sure you use lots of layers. This is especially the case when you're trying to do these metallic colors, because yeah, one layer won't be enough. You need at least 3 layers. Oh, and another thing is that I had painted the pony before I decided to do this, what's it called? Feathering, I think it's called, the little hairs on the pony legs. So I had to use acetone to remove the pink, then do the sculpting, then paint again. And you will also see some differences in the color, the shade of the pink. I think I did a layer at the end that is lighter, but I didn't record that properly. Okay, no more chit chat. I'm lying. Let's talk about the channel. First thing, I want to diversify. There will still be ponies. There will be more generations of ponies. I want to do more fakies or phony ponies from different brands. Especially the little Takara imitations. If you don't know what Takara is, I recommend you take a look. I will leave a link in the description actually, because My Little Pony don't look the same in different countries. In fact, there are 2 places that come to mind now. There might be more, but 2 that come to mind. Well, 3 maybe, South Africa. Anyway, in Spain, you have official My Little Ponies, but they are called piggies because they kind of look like pigs. They're chubby, they're super cute, they have like little crystal eyes. I don't own any of these, but I am planning on, and it will be great to repair one. And if not, it will be great to at least talk about it. And the other one is this Takara ponies, and it's the My Little Pony manufactured in Japan by the company Takara, and they look completely different. I did a fakie on the channel. I have 2 more in the making. Well, not in the making, I'm lying. They are in a box, but they're in my head, I guess. They are in the making. And I want to do some more of those. But like I said, also more Generation 2, Generation 3, and other lines as well. In fact, I will tell you here, see if anyone is still listening by this point, but one of the next projects is a Polly Pocket house. And I think Polly Pockets could be a nice thing to try on the channel, because they tend to have a lot of UV damage, so they're very yellowed by light and temperature, like we talked about in the past, what happens with the bromide in the plastic. And a lot of them also need some TLC, so if you hear this, please let me know if you want in the comments. What do you think about Polly Pocket? If you think that they could be a good idea to do some repairs, or I can't really promise customizations because I feel like I need to learn more by researching properly. But I do have the 3D printer, and well, this next project, the Polly Pocket project, I think I will try to do a couple of things with that. So that will be a different toy line. There are other toy lines I would like to try, some more Care Bears, She-Ra, Princess of Power, of course, but also what is generally considered boy toys, because there are lots of very interesting ones like Ninja Turtles and He-Man, and maybe even Star Wars, if I dare. So I hope you like this idea. The channel will still be mostly about ponies, because I love ponies, and they're fun to make and they're easy to find, and I want to try more things about that too, but I also want to try other things, do some experimentation, and I would love it if you could join me. Now, next one. I am also working on 2 other things that I mentioned in one of those polls you can run on YouTube. I'm not sure if everyone can see them because I mostly watch videos on the computer and I don't really see many of those polls. I think it's more of a mobile thing. In any case, my poll was asking you whether you would like to see other types of content, and by other types of content I meant not just different toy lines, which I think are consistent for this channel, but also maybe some little documentaries. And I'm talking specifically about vintage toy documentaries, or tiny stories, let's call them. Let's not get over ambitious. Oh, look, I thought I would show you while I was editing this part my companion. Bruno is not very active. He has spent, I think, the last year on my lap. So this is how you will find me if you came to my house. Probably sitting by the computer with the cat on my lap. If you're wondering about Bruno, he is the best boy in the world. He is a senior kitty. We don't know how old he is because he just walked into our garden and never left. Well, I mean, he did leave the garden, but never left our company. We looked for his previous humans, nobody claimed him, and we can guess maybe why, because he's very skinny and he's not super healthy. But this is now his forever home, and he is just the cutest. Yeah, I'm jumping from topic to topic. You said you wanted to hear me more. This is what happens. This is on you. But talking about that, let me tell you where else I plan on talking on top of videos. And that is games. I have always loved computers and I have always loved computer games. Oh, can you hear Bruno crying? Let's feed him. Okay, I'm back. I love computer games. Yeah. I especially like relaxing games. So I thought, I received a few comments saying how you enjoy watching the videos because they help you relax. And I think there are lots of games that are not really properly advertised, not in this category. So I'm not sure, I think it might be a different channel, and I don't know how many people will be interested in these, but I might try one video showing you some of my favorite relaxing games and why I recommend them. No sponsorships or anything like that. And since you're letting me talk like I would talk normally to a friend and or something, let me jump to another topic and tell you that there are some very interesting studies about how playing games after a traumatic event, for example, can help you process that trauma. There are some links between games and PTSD, and I personally in my life found it extremely helpful. I was going to say useful, but I think it's more helpful to play certain kinds of games when I was going through some tough times. And I'm talking about relaxing games specifically, or games where time doesn't really matter and you can sort of play endlessly. And also where skill doesn't matter that much. So when I talk about the potential for sort of gaming content, I don't want to do games for the sake of games or entertainment, which is absolutely fine because I watch a lot of those. But I actually want to maybe do something that can potentially help someone. I struggled for so long trying to remove the G4 tail. G4 tails are very difficult, they have a topper inside. Luckily, John, my boyfriend, had a great idea to do this. Get ready for my dorky real-time laugh. So now you know, if you want to take the tail out of a G4, you can use a screw and a screwdriver. Alright, so I have mentioned the subtitles issue. Let's try with the automatic subtitles. That would save me quite a few hours of work, which means I can do more videos. I also mentioned the different toy lines and the potential mini documentaries for vintage toys, and the gaming videos. At least one video where I show you some of my favorite relaxing games where there are no clocks or you can't die and things like that, that I personally find very helpful, like I said. Now in the next section I will tell you a little bit about the plans for the channel, specifically like in terms of what kinds of videos I want to make and what is happening with my home studio, if you want to call it, or just the room where I record stuff. Alright, so I have a room that is dedicated to my work. I have my computer and I have the table with the lights and everything where I make the videos. I also have lots of boxes and bags with toys and tools and supplies and things I think could work for some future project. So it's very messy. It's a very messy room. My work area where I have the computer is kind of okay, and behind me is chaos. So in terms of doing ASMR, I have two main issues. One is the noise coming from outside, especially during the summer, and especially with the neighbors' kids playing in the garden. Now, for example, they are playing, and I'm sure that if I don't speak, you will probably be able to hear. There. And the second problem is that because of how I have to set up the camera, because I just have a table where I put everything, the lights are on the sides, the camera is right in front of my face, which means the microphone is also right in front of my face. So when I'm recording, what the microphone catches is mostly my breathing. And of course, there is the camera microphone, which is not as good as the microphone I use for recording the voice. All of this is to say that there are a couple of things I can do to try to start recording just ambient sounds, and that's getting a better microphone, getting some kind of jig, I think it's called, like around my table so I can hang the lights and maybe hang the camera. And the third one is one of those screens where you can see what you're recording, so I don't have to use the little screen on the camera. By the way, what you're seeing here is my failed attempt at creating the tiara shape using just green stuff. So instead I found this little Kinder egg, actually donated by John, because it was his, and I cut a little circle out of it, because that way the crown or the tiara will keep its shape regardless of how much I reshape it or play with it. You will see what it looks like once it's all put together, and you can let me know what you think about my solution. Alright, so let's now talk about the last topic, I think, in terms of what's coming for the channel, and that is the Patreon. Should we reopen the Patreon or not? And I'm leaning towards not yet, because I definitely felt a lot of pressure to give you extra content and good content, and I don't want to just request or suggest a donation and not be able to give you something else. And just to clarify, I never felt any pressure from the people that had joined the Patreon when I had one. It's my own and what I feel would be fair for everyone that wants to contribute. And I think it was also a similar case with the Discord, which is still open, but I don't actually visit it because every time I do, I feel really guilty that I haven't been there for so long. So I kind of avoid it. Unfortunately, I'm really sorry. But for these two things, I feel it's maybe not the right time yet. Mostly because I also have a lot of work and I don't know when I have the time to make the videos. So if I want to offer you something as part of the Patreon, I would like to do that quite regularly. And I can't do it right now, not until I have maybe some more savings and I can start considering perhaps working more exclusively on my projects. I have a few websites and other things, but it's not enough yet to like pay rent. But being completely honest, I would really like to do this more. I don't want to say full time because I will always have these other educational things I like to do and these other projects. But I would like to have way more time to do these videos and to create really good quality videos that are helpful and fun or relaxing or all of those things. So not gonna lie, I would love that. I would love to be able to do this almost exclusively. And the main reason I think is because I have received so many amazing comments just saying how many people find them helpful for anxiety or depression or for sleeping even. And I think that's just incredible. And I want to make sure I can make good videos, the best I can do. So yeah, to summarize, I would like to bring back the Patreon. I would like to have an active Discord where we can share projects and ideas, but I want to commit to it. I don't want to do it before I can guarantee that I'll have the time and the consistency. So I think a good first step is to try these other kinds of contents, other lines, because you know we have done so many G1s. I don't know how many we have left. Well, there are hundreds of them, but at some point we will have at least one example of each. And I also want to try maybe some little documentaries or maybe a podcast. But yeah, ideally I would like not to have another 6 months break between videos. Anyway, here you can see that I'm doing the gold leafing slightly better, I feel, than the first attempt. I don't know, probably not. This is probably not how you're supposed to do it. Like, Jesus, you're touching it with your fingers and using sharp objects. Well, this reminds me, unrelated, but you know by now also how my brain works. Would you like me to put any of these ponies for sale and then use those profits to maybe buy more equipment or things like that? Let me know if you would be interested in any of them. There are a few that I would like to keep because I like them. But others I'll be happy to relocate, like we did with the Ukrainian pony. We can do some charity, some equipment, and I can tell you like exactly what I will be using funds for. I feel that maybe in terms of, you know, paying rent, the advertising for the videos and potential sponsorships in the future, I've never received any messages like that, but they might come at some point. Then that would be good for, like, you know, making sure I can subsist. But then we can also do some other things. And I have another idea that let me tell you in the next section. Don't worry, we're almost over. I won't be offended if you mute the video while I show you these fluffy wings. The last thing. I know I said the last thing like 3 times already. This is the last thing, I think. No promise. I purchased some rerouting tools, rerouting needles, also some hair. I was thinking maybe going to Comic-Con, to London Comic-Con in October. We are in July now, I think. Yeah. But it could be a recurring thing too. And I was thinking of bringing maybe some ponies, some bait ponies, so like ponies that need repair, and create little packs. So you can either in C2 if you go to Comic Con UK for some reason, or through Etsy or shop like that. Maybe buy like a little pack where you can get your own pony to restore with the rerouting needle and the hair. That way you don't have to like go looking for damaged ponies, which are quite difficult to find, because I always struggle to find the ponies. I'm like on eBay and Vinted and these sites all the time. Now that I think of it, maybe I'm buying the ponies and not letting anyone else do that. But I thought it might be a good idea. Yeah, if you want to let me know what you think about that, of course, please do. Right, so I think that's all I wanted to mention for the channel. And I am 25 minutes in, and this is the longest video I have actually done ever. And I'm not sure if I should just keep talking about life, you know, tell you stuff, or simply put some music and let you finish the video. Like I said briefly before, if by any chance you feel guilty by muting me, please don't worry, put some music in the background. I wish there could be like 2 or 3 tracks for each video, so you could have like a ambient noise only for the future ones, because this one is, I did some, but you can still hear the breathing, so I had to mute some parts. Or maybe a commentary track and a music track. We should write to YouTube and suggest that. Yeah, I think I will let you be, because I could start telling you facts about like cotton and felt and the color purple, but maybe for the next one. So here's some music, and I will see you at the end of the video. Alright, so here is the before when we were selecting the pony parts to customize from the little box of G-Force. And here is the after. Petals, G5, My Little Pony. So it was a long process, not always enjoyable, I have to confess. The first part was a bit difficult, but there were a couple of things that I did have a lot of fun trying. Especially doing the gold stuff, and well, all the second part when I went back to the pony, which is around where I start putting the hair. I think that was a few days ago. It was also fun to make the wings, although there is a lot of footage that didn't make it to the video because I spent a lot of time sewing and embroidering and it wasn't successful. So that's for behind the scenes someday. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you if you followed my ramblings, and I will see you in the next one, which might be a new toy line or it might be something else. We'll see. Have a nice week. Bye bye.